Welcome back, everybody, to Well Life Wednesday, where
Welcome
we
back.
focus. Yes, welcome back, where we focus on helping you live healthier, more whole, and more intentional about your life. I am one of your hosts, Cristy, licensed clinical mental health counselor supervisor.
And I'm your host, Iris, licensed clinical addiction specialist. And we're so glad to have you with us on today.
Yes, we are. So today's topic, Iris, is one that people struggle with, especially in our culture.
And that is stillness is not laziness. Rest as a mental health practice.
Oh, this should be good. This should be good. One of those are one of my specialties. Let's be honest. Some of you listening right now may feel guilty when you rest.
Or you tell yourself, I'll rest after I finish everything. And everything never gets finished. So, hey, might as well go ahead and rest, pretty much.
Might as well. Exactly. So today we're breaking that mindset down and helping you understand that rest is not a luxury, it's necessary.
Most definitely. So, let's start here. Why is it so hard for people to rest?
I want to know too, because many of us were conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to productivity. I'm gonna say that again. We were conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to productivity.
Yes, if you're not doing something, achieving something, um, producing something, it can feel like you're falling behind pretty much.
Exactly. I think probably my the age group I grew up in, we were probably the last set that grew up understanding that man don't work, you don't eat, and you need to be doing something, not just sitting around. You can't spend your whole day in bed doing nothing. You have to be active. And let's take it deeper. It's especially true for people who grew up in survival mode. We talked about that last week.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. So when you lived in an environment where everything where you had to stay on alert or pretty much you hardworking or had to take care of others, rest can feel unsafe or feel inadequate that you shouldn't be resting because you should be doing all these other things to make sure everybody else is okay.
Yeah, I grew up in a household where both my parents worked. You know, we hear our dad tell the stories all the time about needing to be independent and take care of yourself and make sure he had money in his pocket. Mom worked, so it was a given. You work. That's all we seen, we saw. Um, all you heard of our relatives. Everybody worked. I don't think I knew anyone who was of age and had the ability that was not working. It was just a concept. Once you get to a certain point, you work to take care of yourself and contribute um, to the household or whatever goals or aspirations you had.
Mm-hmm.
Your nervous system gets used to being on. So when you slow down, your body doesn't interpret that as peace. It interprets it as unfamiliar. Hmm, Your body's not
So
used to that.
pretty much they even let you know that anxiety can come up as stillness.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that. When you're constantly on the go, like you said, and your body is moving, that's what you're used to, your mannerisms, your motions, your movement. And
Mm-hmm.
so to be still and not have a plan, action, I can see where the anxiety comes from because now your brain is still on go, but your body is not. So you have conflicting interests here.
Right.
That makes sense. That's important. Stillness can be awareness though. And awareness can bring up emotions people have been avoiding. A lot of time we talked about, especially in recovery, people doing things because they want to avoid the reality of something or to run away from something, but it only lasts for a short period of time. Um, a lot of people don't like what is that saying? Idle mind is the devil's playground. When you don't have something to focus on, it
Hmm.
can creep up and come up, and you don't know what to do with it.
So a lot of times, instead of people facing it, they just begin to be busy.
Correct.
Keep
Exactly.
themselves busy, stay working, stay doing something, so they don't have time to think about either the past traumas, the pain, the hurt, whatever they could be dealing with. So they try to keep themselves busy.
Exactly. And I even as we'll probably get into this a little later too. Loneliness.
Yeah.
People keep busy just so they don't have to deal with the loneliness and realize I'm in this by myself. I have no support or nothing else. So I got to do this. We're going back to survival mode. I have no choice.
Hmm.
Let's say this clearly. Busyness can be a form of avoidance.
Yes, most definitely. So let's start here. Let's refine rest because a lot of people's thinking rest just means sleep, and
No.
it doesn't. Now, for me, it's not sleep. It's me sitting in my recliner, crossing my legs at the ankles, and finding something that I'm going to enjoy, whether it be comedy, family friendly, anything, action movies. That's my rest.
Yeah. I think people misinterpret it too when I
Yeah.
say I'm in the bed. I'm not sleep. Like Iris is saying, I am relaxing.
Hmm.
I am withdrawn from all of the world and society and what's going on. And I'm in my own little bubble doing what makes me happy, relaxing. I am
Hmm.
mentally calm, physically, emotionally. That's what resets me. So laying down or being on my sofa, j- I'm intentional about it. It does not mean that I'm sleeping. Now, will I take a nap? Absolutely, if it's necessary. But really, it's just relaxing myself. Rest is more about sleep. It's intentional restoration of your mind, body, and emotions. And people, we have to make that a priority. We
Hmm.
just as much energy into doing all of these other tasks, all of these other titles and labels that we have. We often overexert ourselves, and then all of these things start lacking in some area,
Right.
and you get overwhelmed and burn out, and you're
Hmm.
not good to yourself or anyone else.
So let me describe different types of rest.
Ooh, I like that
There's
one.
physical rest,
Mhm.
emotional rest, mental rest, social rest, and spiritual rest.
Come on. Oh, yes. Let's break all of this down.
Yeah.
Physical rest. Yes, that's sleep, but also slowing your body down. I have sleep apnea. So before I found out, I was not getting to REM sleep. REM sleep is where your body actually restores itself. Um, a lot of times you're at that surface level sleep, so people can easily wake up and or be startled, or you're not in a deep sleep enough where your
Hmm.
body is rejuvenating. Um, and so that's why it's important that you are getting adequate rest. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to sleep 8 hours. You have some people who can, some people who sleep 5 hours and they're just as good. But as long as your body is able to reset and rejuvenate itself, that's what's most important. So if you're not sleeping, that means something is wrong. And so that means you need to go talk to somebody, see somebody, figure out what's going on. Either you, your brain is still going, there's something going sleepless, restless leg. Physically, there's something going on or mentally where you need to figure out why you can't, when you lay down, you're not getting enough sleep. This week, I have decided I haven't put it into action yet, but I really need to put my phone away from me when I'm
Hmm.
in bed, because one of the things I came across a man who was saying that the first thing he does in the morning is mindfulness, grounding. And when you first pick up your phone and start getting on social media, you're activating something that doesn't need to be activated immediately.
Hmm.
So to ground, pray, meditate, all of that is important Some people get up and work out. That is vital, not just physically but mentally. And so that's something that I'm going to try to figure out how I can incorporate that um, into my daily life now. Even though I'm so used to picking up my phone because it's right there in the bed with me, I need to figure out how to um, reset that and do something else first thing in the morning.
Okay, let's talk about mental rest. That's turning off the constant thinking, worrying, and planning. There's so many people that are at that stage of mental rest. Their mind is always going. They're always thinking about something, worrying about the next thing. And like I said, are planning. So you have to take the time to just shut all that off, as we already forestated at the beginning of this episode. Learning how to turn things off, deactivating from that. So when you get home from work, leave work at work and be present at home.
That's
Okay.
good. Exactly. Emotional rest. Being able to be authentic without feeling like you have to perform. I ain't doing it.
Mm,
I'm not. It's exhausting. You don't have to put on for anybody. And I think if you're honest with yourself, then everything else will fall into place. Do what's best for you, whatever your expectation is. Emotionally, making sure that you are well and whole, being authentic to you. So whether that is you realize you have been in survival mode and you
hmm
need to um, undo those patterns, uh, trauma, depression, anxiety, all of those things, you need to figure out the best plan of action to unlearn those things because we teach ourselves, we teach people how to treat us, and we also, our experiences teach us how to live. And so sometimes we have to undo things because it's just a formality for us. And so undoing it can be just as scary, but it's necessary.
hmm Social rest, taking a break from people when needed. And that is okay
Hmm.
to put in that boundary of separation for a while if you're needing a break from people. And also social media.
Yeah,
We probably should start there too, first.
I
We
think,
keep these phones.
yeah.
I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah. And you get caught up because it's so quick.
hmm
You don't have to go out and socialize now. A lot of people are not. You go to your job, you go to your church, you go wherever you need to go, and then you come back in and then you get online because that's where the world is. You have
Right.
such quick access, but there has to be a boundary, and it's okay to take breaks from people.
hmm
I promise you, it is, and they will be okay if it's genuine. They're gonna understand.
Right. That part.
Can, we also may need to make sure it's also about communication, letting people know it's me time. I need a break. It's not about
hmm
it's all me. So take the personalization out of it, where people think it's a personal attack against them. No, I have to take care of me so I can be my best self for you.
That's right.
And last but not least, spiritual rest, feeling grounded, connected, and at peace. We have to take time spiritually to make sure that we're connected to something, someone, and you're you're doing the work to make sure that that is in tune. Because really, I think if you're spiritually not connected or grounded, it's going to throw all the other things off as well.
hmm
And I think if all of those other things are off, if you get spiritually connected, then you can reset the others that we're talking about, mental,
Right.
social. And so that's the key component, um, a vital component to all of these things.
So if you're sleeping but still exhausted, you might be lacking a different type of rest. So
That's
Christy has stated earlier, when you find yourself still not resting or exhausted, contact your primary care physician. Let them know, like, I'm not getting my adequate amount of sleep. I may be sleeping 2 hours or I'm breaking sleep. Sleep 1 hour, wake up. Sleep 2 hours, wake up. I mean, just notify them and let them know. It could be something, like I said, deeper than that.
That's good. Let's talk about the signs because sometimes people don't realize they're burnt out. That is true. I think I'm seeing that right now in some individuals.
And here are some key indications that you could be burned out: irritability,
Mhm.
difficulty concentrating, emotionally overwhelmed, lack of motivation, and feeling constantly tired, even after sleeping.
Yep. You waking up tired.
Right.
That's a sign right there. If you slept adequately, you shouldn't be getting up tired. Irritability, difficulty concentrating, emotional overwhelm, lack of motivation is all key signs of burnout.
Mm-hmm.
We have people doing way too much outpouring and not enough
Pouring
inpouring.
back into, yeah.
Also, increased anxiety, impatience, and even physical symptoms like headaches or body tension can show up in individuals.
And let's not leave this one out. Resentment.
Oh my. Oh my.
That could be a factor of why you're not sleeping. You still holding on to stuff, still carrying stuff,
Mhm.
and that's keeping you from sleeping.
Resentment has held a lot of people hostage. And half the time, whatever the people you're resenting have no idea that they did
Right.
something to you, or they themselves have moved on and you haven't. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, because such and such didn't. A lot of times too, when you're dealing with childhood things, we hold that on and never address it, but we don't take the time to think. Also, the people who were raising us didn't have it to give, so we're resenting something that somebody didn't have control over. Does that make it okay? No, it does not. But when you um, think about things and work through it, you're able to see the different parallels that caused that situation. It's not just your life, it was someone else living their life trying to
Mm-hmm.
raise you as well. And so it's different components to that piece of what you were missing. And you have to take all of that into consideration to heal. Now, if you don't want to heal, you're just going to keep playing the blame game, and saying that this is why I'm this way. It's an excuse. But when you really do the work and walk through that to try to get clarity and understanding, it's very helpful. When you're always pouring out and never refilling, you start feeling resentful towards others.
And that goes back to Chris, what you were saying. A lot of times people are looking for the same treatment they give others. And like you said, everybody wasn't raised the same. So you looking for somebody to do the same thing that you did.
Yeah,
If I helped you here, this person might not have the capability to know how to help you in this area. So we start be like, I'm always doing from there. And like you said, that's when resentment come in because you looking for the same thing.
yeah,
And like I said, they didn't have it to give
yeah.
because they was might have been brought up in a different environment than you. They might didn't experience that love and caring, being supportive and helping others. They could have grew up in chaos. So
That is
that's
what
all they kind of.
they know.
Well,
But
hey,
I'm going to go here too, Iris. If you are helping and giving from a place of, I want to get this same thing back, it's not
yeah,
genuine.
there you go.
Expecting anything when you're helping others.
That's
If
so
that's
true.
don't do it, because a lot of times you're not going to get it back. Don't loan money if you need it.
There you go.
If you're expecting it back, don't give it out. If you're always picking up the phone and being there and picking somebody up and make and you're looking for from that person in return, then don't do it.
Yeah, right.
Help should come from a desire. I want to help. I don't want to see you struggling, and I
Hmm.
don't need anything. It's out of love. I don't want to see you struggling and going through. I just want to be there to support you till you get back on your feet. And then when you are, I'm going to cheer, be your biggest cheerleader. If that
Right.
is if you can't do that from a place of giving and not expectation, then don't do it. Because you have to ask yourself what's the real reason why you're doing this.
Right.
You're actually lacking something. So you're giving something in order to get something back to fulfill something in you. And that's not
Hmm.
how giving works.
And like you said, always getting poured into and never refilling, and that's when they feel resentment and all that.
Mhm.
Resentment is letting your body know that there's something in your mind saying, I need to get something done. I need rest.
Yeah,
So you need, like I said, we need to reset from all that.
I agree. No later, not later, not eventually, but now.
Hmm.
It
Start
happens
now.
now.
Hmm. So let's shift the mindset. Rest is not lazy, it's practice. So
And
it's
joy,
not lazy. Mindset is a rest is not lazy. It's practice.
yeah. It's not just like any practice. It has to be intentional. That means
Hmm.
just like you prioritize everything else, rest needs to be prioritized as well.
Right.
Why you not putting just as much thought into that? I want to make sure my rest area is set up for what I need it to be. So I'm going to make sure that I have the right pillows. I'm going to make sure that the ambiance is set. Everything is going to be what I need to be relaxed and calm because this is my space, my safe place. So out
Hmm.
in the world where I might have all types of darts being thrown at me, I might encounter all kinds of chaos. When I walk through my door, I'm at peace and it's time to reset. That's why I like what you said, Iris. We leave that stuff at the door
Hmm.
because it's not fair to your family to have to encounter what you encountered out there. You didn't want to encounter it, so why are you giving it to the people that you love?
Right. That's so true. So let's talk about how practice actually practice and rest looks like.
How to actually practice rest.
Hmm.
If you don't schedule, if you don't schedule rest, it won't happen. Simple as that.
Yeah. So you need to learn how to put it in your calendar like you would any other appointment.
Right.
That's a start right there.
Rest doesn't have to be a whole day. You can start with 5 to 10 minutes. Sometimes you need to take a break or pause in the middle of your day. Okay, I need to reset now because I feel it's going left. It could be 4:45. Let me let me stop and reset.
Hmm. And then learn how to sit in silence. Take that time to breathe, as you just said, Christy, and pause. That's your time of reset.
Like we said before, ours, a lot of people are uncomfortable with silence.
Yeah.
And that's something you have to be comfortable with, just like loneliness. Take yourself out to dinner. And I told a client that an adult that one time. She's like, "Oh no, I'm not going out by myself." I said, "Why not?" She said, that would be embarrassing, uncomfortable, but why? Why is that mindset for you? If you don't know what you're gonna like when you're out alone, how you gonna share it with somebody else?
Hmm.
How you know what it feels like?
Right.
You cannot rest if you're constantly saying yes to everything.
Hmm. That's right, because that's setting boundaries right there. So
Go.
protect your time and energy.
Hmm.
Back to
Sometimes
boundary setting.
exactly. Boundaries are so important, people. It
Hmm.
really is, and I need people to get comfortable with that saying no. And it's more so about the response you're going to get. That's the fear.
Right.
Who cares? This is about you. Sometimes rest means putting the phone down. Ira said that, putting that, and that's for me. This is for me. Putting the phone down.
Because Christy, scrolling is not rest. That's stimulation. You doing all that and you see something like, oh Lord, look at that. I mean, we get caught up, like I said, we get caught up in this stuff in the world.
And Iris, if we're starting our day with that stimulation and ending it, What are we setting ourselves up for? So if you start your day reading tragic news and
Uh,
stuff in the communities that's just so overwhelming, what you're setting yourself up for what kind of day? And then if you're trying to go to sleep at night and you're taking all of this in, how are you expecting to sleep peacefully?
nah.
I don't think we think about that. Stimulation. Yes, it is. Just like you probably shouldn't drink coffee before you go to bed. Sodas with caffeine. We don't consider all of these things when we're trying to promote something and live a healthier, well lifestyle. It doesn't mean taking things away that um all things away that are bad. It means um replacing it with something a little bit healthier.
It's even important about how what you watch before you go to bed, and you wonder why you're dreaming and tossing it all night. What did you watch before you went to bed?
Mhm.
Thinking about snakes, thinking about somebody killing you, and all kinds of stuff. Oh,
That is true, just like eating. One of my
yeah.
pet peeves is not pet peeves, one of my habits is snacking before I go to sleep, and I mean go to sleep for the night. I'll go downstairs and have some ice cream. How is that conducive to what I need to go to bed? We have to cut some stuff off at a certain time
Yeah, yeah,
in order to say. I think it was one of our earlier episodes in season 1 talking about a routine, having a
yeah.
wake up routine and a nighttime routine.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you set your kids up for bed, homework, letting them exert some energy, then dinner and taking a shower and then winding down. We don't do that
At
for
the
ourselves
same
as
thing.
adults.
Mm-hmm.
Why, at what point do we think that we have to let that go from childhood to adulthood? No, it should always be carried along. You should do the same thing for yourself.
Right. That's so true.
And that's the hardest thing for people to do.
So let's talk about giving yourself permission. You
First,
have to believe. Oh, go
first
ahead.
I say that people need to realize that they deserve rest.
Mm-hmm.
You deserve it. Not because you earned it, but because you're human. It
That's true.
it is not a I'm not going to even say the thing that's coming up is that it's a privilege because it's not.
Mm.
It's a guarantee. Like you deserve it. Nobody should be able to take that away from you.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So let's have a real moment. Some of you feel guilty even in listening to this, but don't feel guilty. We all learning together. We're on this journey together. So let's just take a moment.
Yeah. You're thinking about um what you should be doing instead. Instead of being in this moment listening to us,
Mm-hmm.
minds go off to what could I be doing right now? What I need to do for the day. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to learn how to be present in the moment. I think we talked about on another podcast about stopping and smelling the roses, being intentional, grounding, taking note of your surroundings, being present.
Right. Let me tell you something that burnout doesn't make you productive, more productive.
Yeah.
Some
Exhaustion. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, I guess I was gonna say it brings on you being overwhelmed still.
Yeah.
Even through that.
Yeah. It just constantly gets worse. You
Mm-hmm.
piling stuff on top. And the thing is, through all of this, you're never completing anything. It's just a bunch of starts.
Yes, yes.
And by the end of it, you just got a whole pile of stuff. And you're like, where do I go from here?
Mm-hmm.
Exhaustion is not a badge of honor.
Mm.
Y'all can keep that.
Mm-mm.
Anybody trying to be exhausted?
No. Rest is what allows you to show up better for yourself and others.
Hmm. And you can't pour from an empty cup.
No, you can't.
And if you keep trying, eventually something will break.
That could. And we don't want that for you. We
No,
want you to learn from everything that pretty much we have said on today. Learn how to rest, learn how to set that boundary and say, I'm worrying about me today. I'm going to take time for myself. And like we said, it's not all about sleep. Find something that relaxes you that you can enjoy, whether it's like I said, for 15 or 20 minutes.
that's good, Iris. So here's what we want you to take away from today: rest is not laziness, rest is not weakness, rest is not something you have to earn.
Rest is a mental health practice. It's a form of self-respect,
I like it.
respecting yourself.
This week, we challenge you: find one way to intentionally rest. Okay? I want you to find one way to intentionally rest.
Even if it's just sitting still for a few minutes without distractions. That's
And
a start right there.
and notice how you feel right there in that moment.
Hmm.
Be able to see the difference.
And guys, thank you for joining us for this week episode on Well Life Wednesday.
If this episode spoke to you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And please share it with someone who needs permission to rest.
We'll see you next week, same time, same place.
Take care of your mind, your body, and your well being.
Exactly. Bye, everybody.